decreasing their participation in the workforce steadily for some 70 years. But this most recent drop is fueled by older men who are retiring, younger men who are disabled or have mental challenges or are in school. Some of what you said also about women participating in the labor force at higher rates, I think is partly because of higher demand for jobs that are female dominated at this point, like healthcare and private education, correct?
Absolutely. So if we look at the data, what we see is that women took 86% of the jobs that were created between January 2025 and April 2026. And that's primarily because more than 100% of the jobs that were created in healthcare, because we lost jobs in the goods producing sector, in the manufacturing sector, in the government sector. That was a negative number. So when you hear how many jobs were added this month, that's a net number comprised of a bunch of occupations that are losing jobs, and then that healthcare, which is adding more than enough to make up for the job losses and then have us grow a little bit.
Well, at Here and Now, we're talking to people who recently graduated from college about how well they're doing in finding a job. And we recently heard from a man in California named Joshua Beach. He's a military vet. He says he graduated from college about a year ago with a degree in electrical and electronic engineering. And he's so far found no luck in finding a job to match his degree.
I did everything people tell you to do, got experience, built projects, networked, stayed adaptable, and yet I still haven't been able to break into my field, even applying for entry-level positions.
Now, he did say that he has a job in property management, which pays the bills, but that's not what he was trained for, and he feels like he's not meeting his potential. Here's Joshua again.
What people don't always talk about is the mental health side of this. After enough rejection, enough silence, enough we went with another candidate, you start questioning your worth and whether the system actually has room for people who genuinely worked for their opportunity.
Professor Stevenson, does Joshua's plight sound familiar to you? Is this a typical story?
You know, it's absolutely heartbreaking because I really do deeply feel what he's saying. That kind of rejection is tough for anyone to handle. And I think it's a combination of bad luck and a changing labor market. You know, one of the things research shows is there is honestly no sort of worse experience during unemployment than that moment of applying for a job. It's really hard to keep applying when you're getting turned down. And a lot of people end up giving up and going in a different direction, but they never sort of get over the hurt. What I would say to him is that, you know, he should keep trying and look, you know, maybe tangentially around his field, like what's sort of close to it where his skills will be used. You know, we need to do a better job with career counseling for people like him who have a set of skills, but they can't find their spot in the labor market. You know, it is the job of the college and university in our modern times to help those students land a job that makes them feel good about the investment they made.
So do you see a way out of this, especially when we've got AI hitting this year's crop of graduates particularly hard?
I agree that AI is making things harder for young people. There are other things that are making it easier, like the fact that there's a lot more opportunity for entrepreneurship and self-employment, and there is still a lot of growth. So just because, you know, AI is reducing the number of people we need with a certain set of skills, the increase in demand that we might get for those types of skills can actually offset it. So we're not seeing in the data yet, except for in a certain set of small categories like software skills, that people are being kept out of the labor market by this. I think that the best thing for us to do is think about this as a broad yet multifaceted problem where we need to do a better job of escorting people into the labor market by giving them training, creating government programs that give them work experience, creating incentives for employers to hire young, inexperienced people, even with a lot of skills like college graduates. And some of that is going to be about talking about male identity and what are good jobs for men, because we do need to see men going into these service jobs that are being created. I don't like to hear that we're creating, healthcare jobs and those are women's jobs, because those are good jobs for everyone. And I'd like to see a lot of young men embrace the jobs that are being created.
Betsy Stevenson is an economist and professor of public policy at the University of Michigan's Ford School. Professor Stevenson, thank you so much.
It was great talking with you.
You're listening to Here and Now.
Hey, it's A. Martinez, and I want you to cast your mind back to all the road trips you've had with that car of yours. Of all the miles you've racked up on the odometer, how many hours were spent listening to public radio? If mileage has taken its toll over the years, donate that car, truck, or RV to this station. You'll help everyone put more miles on their radio with hours and hours of thought-provoking news and information. Here's how.
Go to radioiq.org and click the support tab and select vehicle donation.
On the next Fresh Air, David Sedaris discusses his new book of essays, The Land and Its People, reflecting on his life as a foreigner, brother, and caretaker of his husband Hugh while Hugh recovered from surgery. He'll also explain why he still calls you his boyfriend and why he got his sisters to sign contracts swearing they'd never get married. Join us.
That's Fresh Air, Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on Radio IQ.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston, where the program is produced, and your NPR station, and from MathWorks, creator of MATLAB and Simulink, to design and develop engineered systems, accelerating the pace of discovery in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com. And Road Scholar, a nonprofit educational travel provider for adults, offering programs in more than 100 countries and online. Learn more at roadscholar.org/learning.
It's Here and Now. And if someone hasn't told you yet about this life lesson, hear me now. Every success comes after challenges. And country singer John Anderson experienced a series of challenges several years ago. WPLN's Julie Height tells us how a career-threatening condition changed him forever.
Once a country artist has established their name in the industry, scored radio hits, and built a faithful audience, like John Anderson did during the 80s and early 90s, they're well positioned to keep stepping on stage and singing the songs they're known for as long as they want. Unless a health crisis stops them in their tracks. For Anderson, it was hearing loss. He first had an issue about 25 years ago and tried a doctor who admitted to being reluctant to treat him.
I'm afraid to do any work on this here at all, but I have a colleague who, if anybody can fix it, he might can.
Hi, I'm David Haynes. I'm professor of otolaryngology, neurosurgery, hearing and speech sciences here at Vanderbilt Health.
Haynes had already encountered Anderson, well, his music anyway, many years earlier when he was a medical student with an unreliable vehicle.
There was a friend of mine who had his CD in her car, and I had to borrow her car. My car had broken down, and I really fell in love with his music. I listened to it every day and been a fan ever since.
After Haynes did surgery on Anderson's ear, the artist went right back on the road. But when he fell seriously ill in 2017 and faced multiple hospital stays, both ears were profoundly affected.
Not only did I lose hearing in that ear that he did the surgery on, but I lost hearing in my other ear, which was all I had. For a while there, it was really dire straits for me as I was facing probably not being able to sing or play again. That was a very, very dark and depressing time in my life.
Anderson again sought the care of Dr. Haynes and his colleagues, but this time the doctor said his patient suffered from a far more critical condition.
The kind of inner ear hearing loss that he had, if you don't get it back within a few weeks, it's not going to come back months later. So we knew we were on a timeline. I never can guarantee success, but we were concerned with him because of the amount of loss and because of who he was, one of my favorite performers.
Haynes decided to try injecting steroids into Anderson's eardrum.
It wasn't pleasant, really, but it really wasn't that painful.
Anderson had to make the 90-minute trip from his Smithville, Tennessee home to Nashville for repeated follow-ups. Once he could pick up a guitar again, Haynes considered the treatment a success.
He would come in and say, I can hear now, and I can play music now, and I can hear these notes now. That's what's most important.
As remarkable as his recovery was, Anderson required a lot of convincing when producers Dan Auerbach and Dave Ferguson asked him to resume recording.
It was almost every night I'd be blinded by the light. With the sun I'd drag myself to bed. Sometimes I'd wake up in a sweat. All my sheets were soaking wet, with the sounds exploding in my head.
Dr. Haynes' professional opinion on his patient's 2020 album?
Fantastic.
Anderson was so grateful that he'd been given his music back that he invited his physician to attend his 2024 Country Music Hall of Fame induction and shouted him out.
Dr. David Haynes from Vanderbilt, his lovely wife, Carrie. I owe him a lot.
Anderson was hardly the only Country Music Hall of Famer to benefit from Haynes' care, as reflected by the thank yous on display in his office.
I found I was in pretty good company. There's folks on the wall there, the picture saying, thanks, Dr. Haynes. Patty Wynette was one I recall. Earl Haggard, another one.
That wasn't all that Anderson had noticed during his Vanderbilt visits.
I remember I walked in and I was feeling pretty down and sorry for myself. And then I started paying attention to all these folks coming and going. Old folks coming in walkers, as well as young parents carrying their children. You could see the fear as well as the hope in the parents' eyes. It really, really affected me. I got very emotional, and to myself, I said, John, you've got to do something to try and help.
He proposed a benefit show to Dr. Haynes and repeated the offer for a few years straight until they could finally make it happen this year.
Yeah, I'm just an old chunk of coal.
It's extremely generous of him. It got the awareness out there for what we do. We know we'll help people because of the exposure he's given and the funds he's raised. It'll help identify these barriers, but also help to overcome these barriers, because they can have a profound impact on your life.
It most certainly did on Anderson's. For Here and Now, I'm Julie Height.
And I'm just an old chunk of coal now, Lord. But I'm gonna be a diamond someday.
No, I needed that story today. Here and Now is a production of NPR and WBUR. I'm Robin Young.
And I'm Indira Lakshmanan. It's Here and Now.
I'm gonna search and find me a better way to talk. And I'm gonna spit and polish my old rough-edged self till I get rid of every single flaw.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston and from the Music Emporium, guitar sellers for more than 55 years, celebrating the enduring presence of music made on the front porch and center stage. You can learn more at themusicemporium.com.
It resonates with you. A story on Radio IQ that changed your perspective. A conversation that helped you understand the world better. And yes, the organizations that made it all possible. Corporate support isn't about shouting louder. It's about being present in the moments that matter to you. If your organization wants to make its mark where it counts, email us at corporatesuport@vt.edu.
Make your smart home even smarter. Just ask your smart speaker to play Radio IQ, and we'll keep you up to date with NPR News, the BBC, and award-winning local news coverage from Radio IQ.
You're listening to Radio IQ on WVTF Roanoke, WRIQ Charles City Richmond, WVTU Charlottesville, WVTW Charlottesville, WVTR Marion, WISE FM Wise, WQIQ Spotsylvania, WIUR Lexington, WEHC Emory, HD3 of WURV Richmond, and on 92.5 Richmond and 94.9 Fredericksburg. Radio IQ, a listener-supported community service of Virginia Tech, on your smart speaker and online at radioiq.org.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross is underwritten by the Davis H. Elliott Company, providing energy delivery services to utility and government partners since 1946. The Davis H. Elliott Company.
Board of Supervisors held a closed session meeting at 1 p.m. in the board conference room prior to the regularly scheduled board meeting at 2 p.m. pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia for consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation and open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. I invite all who so desire to stand for a moment of silence and to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon and welcome to our meeting for May 26, 2026. The board is now returning to open session and all members are present. The Board of Supervisors held a closed session earlier today at 1 p.m. prior to the regularly scheduled board meeting. Regular meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday at 2 p.m. Public hearings are held at 6 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Deviations from this schedule will be announced. The meetings are broadcast live on RVTV Channel 3 and will be rebroadcast on Friday at 7 p.m. and on Sunday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Board of Supervisor meetings can also be viewed online through Roanoke County's website at www.roanokecountyva.gov. Individuals who require assistance or special arrangements to participate in or attend Board of Supervisor meetings should contact the clerk to the board at 540-772-2005 at least 48 hours in advance. Please turn all cell phones off or place them on silent. Item C, certification resolution. In the closed session just concluded, nothing was discussed except the matter which was identified in the motion to convene in closed session. Only those matters lawfully permitted to be discussed under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were discussed. Is there a motion to adopt the certification resolution?
So move.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item D, request to postpone, add to, or change the order of agenda items. Are there any requests to postpone, add to, or change the order of the agenda, fellow board members?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Kaywood?
No changes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Lubeck?
No changes.
Item E, new business. Resolution approving a comprehensive agreement between the county and S. Louis Lineberger Construction Company regarding construction services for the Hollins Library. Georgia Acid, Capital Projects Administrator. Hello.
Good afternoon. Madam Chair, members of the board. In February of 2025, S. Louis Lineberger Construction Company submitted a competing proposal in response to an unsolicited conceptual phase proposal submitted by another contractor for the redevelopment of the Hollins Library. In June 2025, a public hearing to receive citizen comments on the proposals was held, as required by the county's adopted PPEA guidelines. After careful consideration, following the competitive negotiation process, the PPEA Contractor Selection Committee recommended S. Louis Lineberger Construction Company as the party with whom to pursue the design and redevelopment of the Hollins Library. Following the board's August 2025 approval of an interim agreement with Lineberger, they have successfully completed the initial pre-construction services for the library. County staff and Lineberger have finalized negotiations on a comprehensive agreement to accomplish the project's next phase. According to the county's PPEA guidelines, the board must approve any interim or comprehensive agreement entered into pursuant to the PPEA between the county and a private entity. The purpose of this resolution is to request approval of a comprehensive agreement between Roanoke County and Lineberger Construction Company for construction services for Hollins Library. This agreement includes a guaranteed maximum shown as Exhibit 4, in the amount of $9,536,832. The GMP includes the work identified in Exhibits 2 and 3 of the agreement. The GMP does not include the work performed under the previous completed interim agreement or other owner-provided miscellaneous hard and soft costs. Our total project budget is $11,550,000, and our anticipated total project costs are approximately $10,900,000, leaving approximately $650,000 in project reserves. Based on the construction schedule shown as Exhibit 5 of the agreement, construction is scheduled to begin June 9th, in the next couple weeks, and finish in late June of 2027. Sam Lineberger, Josh Beasley, and Barbara Dooley with Lineberger are here as representatives of Lineberger Construction Company. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. George, this has been an odyssey the last 3 or 4 years. I want to personally thank you for your work on this project, and I look forward to the day when it's complete, and I hope it's before the end of June of 2027, so we can celebrate almost the day we closed the library and moved it to Green Ridge temporarily. I want you to know that the economics worked out favorably. This remodeling will appear to be almost like a brand-new library, and on behalf of the citizens of the Highlands District, I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution.
Did you have comments?
I do.
Okay.
Got a couple of construction questions.
Yes, sir.
Remember, you're not working on it, they are.
By the way, I second the motion. Second the motion. Okay, so I looked over all those documents. I appreciate that. Whenever you throw construction drawings at somebody in the business, you're gonna look at them. Well done drawing. I saw the solicitation on the architectural firm and the site engineer. Really good resume. And of course, what Lineberger brought. So when I look through the documents, so the front section is being added on. So I guess we have plenty of site distance from Peters Creek to do that. Kind of drilling down into the plans. So you have in the front, in that front section, you have a room that has the fireplace in it.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like it's a direct vent, right?
Pardon, I'm sorry?
It's a direct vent fireplace.
It is a direct vent fireplace, yes.
Okay, LP, gas log, stuff like that?
Or
natural gas?
It'll be, yes, natural gas.
Okay. So why, couple of questions. Why are we using 6-inch full embedded stone when we can get the same look with 2-inch real stone? Because you're having to build a massive masonry chimney all the way outside of the structure. And then you're closing the door, you're closing that room, and I know at South County Library, we've got that one in open air, it's got great ventilation, so, you know, who designed all that, George?
HBM, we worked with HBM on that design. We want the full stone here. Their subcontractor is a local contractor, a masonry contractor. In that area, and thought that would be a nice addition to have local contractors work. We've talked to Josh Beasley about that masonry flue, whether we can change that from masonry to steel studs and put a sheathing on that to try to reduce the cost. To me, it didn't make a lot of sense either when we looked at it. So he was going back to the structural engineer and talk to him, see what we can do about that.
Okay.
Ventilation of the heat. This one, I believe this particular fireplace has the glass on the front of it because we don't want people throwing books or any paper documents.
All direct vents have
Yes.
gas.
So we will be, a lot of the heat, it's really for aesthetics. It's not going to be to heat the area.
Okay. Because a lot of them can throw off a lot of BTUs.
Yes.
And you close the door and you're going to cook everybody. So, Okay, I just, very, very well done drawings. I just noticed that I have to deal with full width stone, a lot of my structures, and so there's always a way to skin the cat a different way. But other than that, looks great, great project. Mr. North, looking forward to seeing all that new glass
Yes.
on that structure.
That library needs some more light from the outside, natural light, to kind of liven it up a bit, so this will accomplish that for sure.
Yeah.
And when people go by, they're going to take notice, even though the citizens wanted it in the same location.
Yeah.
We're meeting what they wanted as far as location's concerned, and it's going to look like it was brand new from the ground up when it's all over with.
Yeah.
And I really encourage everyone to take note in the future, because that, along with the CTE, is going to uplift the whole Hollins, Williamson Road, Peters Creek Road area, and perhaps induce more economic development, if you will. Thank you.
I just want to thank Mr. Acid. I want to thank Mr. Lineberger and his staff. This looks great. Thank you.
One thing that's neat about that, too, is I think it's Mr. Beasley, is it?
Correct.
Who grew up in that community and went to that library to use it as a young student, and now he's participating in its renovation. I think that's really super. And so I know you're going to do a good job, because you're going to take ownership of that from your experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Acid. Is there any discussion regarding the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item 2, resolution adopting, 1, the fiscal year 2026-2027 operating and capital budget revenues and expenditures for the County of Roanoke, Virginia, and Roanoke County Public Schools, and 2, the fiscal years 2027 through 2036 capital improvement program for the County of Roanoke, Virginia, and Roanoke County Public Schools, and 3, the fiscal year 2026-2027 fee compendium. Steve Elliott, Budget Administrator. Welcome, Mr. Elliott.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. There are a few items on the agenda today to finalize our FY 2026 through 2027 budgets. The first is a resolution, and later in the agenda, we will have the second reading of the 3 ordinances to appropriate funds for Roanoke County and Roanoke County Public Schools. This resolution is the last piece of new business regarding the upcoming budget. The resolution is for the operating and capital budgets for the county and schools for FY 2026-2027, as well as the 10-year capital improvement program for fiscal years 2027 through 2036 and the FY 2026 through 2027 fee compendium. The adoption of these documents fulfills the legal requirements. However, it does not represent the appropriation of funds. This will not occur until the second reading and approval of budget ordinances, which is scheduled next in the agenda. Staff recommends approval of the resolution adopting the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 operating budget and the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 capital budget for Roanoke County, the fiscal years 2027 through 2036 capital improvement program, and the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 fee compendium for the County of Roanoke.
Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott?
Yeah, one question. In the operating budget under sales tax is $16.750 million. That's a bit less than what we're anticipated we were going to realize during the current year.
That's correct.
So it's a decline.
It is
an estimated decline.
The budget over year does decline, but we are still seeing sales tax growth, so that there is growth in sales taxes, just not as much as we had anticipated earlier.
Exactly. And just to make a comment here on the debt service for the county and for the schools, those two numbers, $26 million thereabouts, about 9.5% of the total revenues are to pay for the debt on school buildings and county buildings and structures.
That would be correct, sir.
Coupled with the Children's Services Act, which takes a big chunk as well.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted the folks at home to know that those items are always increasing. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Well, not a question so much, it's just to my colleagues on the board. I know this is not an appropriation, but if we do look at the capital improvements program, particularly for county schools, If we stretch out to 2036, we're looking at Northside Middle, Glenver Elementary, Hidden Valley Middle, respectively 42.5 mil, 22.6 mil, and 47.2 mil. So we are, at least inferentially, saying that we are on board with that kind of debt load through 2036. Just, yes, ma'am.
Well, I was going to let you finish, but I understand that when we approve this, we're saying that is the plan for the future.
Right. That is true.
we are only approving 1 year.
No, I understand. I said this is not an appropriation.
Correct.
But I don't want to, sometimes when you approve the plan, you kind of give an expectation that that plan will be implemented.
At some time.
Yes.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, just want to add a little bit of comment. I saw the same thing Mr. Mahoney is talking about. And so we can't tie the hands of a future board to that document. So we're only doing 1 year at a time. And we've already said publicly that we need to go back and look at how we're going to afford $20 million for the next till 2036. And so we need to have a discussion with that and with our staff so we can kind of look at where are we going with this. So thank you.
I think just a comment, I think our county administrator is aware of that, and I believe that that conversation is going to be starting soon. So it'll be discussed in the future.
Yep.
But I think right now it's a placeholder, and it is expensive, absolutely. Everything's going up.
I just don't want to buy a ticket on that roller coaster.
Well, do you have a ticket on the train out of town?
Probably.
Okay, well, anyway.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker? Yes. Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item F, second readings of ordinances. 1, ordinances to appropriate funds for A, fiscal year 2026-2027 operations budget and approval of the step plans and pay bands for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the County of Roanoke, Virginia. Steve Elliott.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board, once again. This is to conduct the second reading of the 3 ordinances to appropriate funds for the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 County of Roanoke operating and capital budgets, approve the County of Roanoke step plans and pay bands for fiscal year 2026-27, and approve the fiscal year 2026-2027 Roanoke County Public School categories budgets. The state has yet to adopt their FY 27 and 28 biennial budget. Therefore, changes may be necessary to the county FY 27 budget at a later date. These 3 ordinances require an individual reading and vote by the Board of Supervisors. Staff recommends approval of the 3 fiscal year 26-27 budget appropriation ordinances and also recommends approval of the attached step plans and pay bands for fiscal year 2026 through 2027.
Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott?
Are we voting on the compendium fees, Steve?
That was in the resolution.
That's in the resolution.
Item B, appropriating funds for the capital budget.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm
Any
good.
questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2026-2027 operations budget and approval of the step plans and pay bands for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the County of Roanoke, Virginia?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker? Yes. Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item B, fiscal year 2026-2027 capital budget for the County of Roanoke, Virginia. Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott? Is there a motion to approve the ordinance appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2026-2027 capital budget for the County of Roanoke, Virginia?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item C, fiscal year 2026-2027, Roanoke County Public Schools categories. Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott? Is there a motion to approve the ordinance appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2026-2027 Roanoke County Public Schools?
Madam Chair, I will move the approval of this ordinance to provide $301,004,135 to Roanoke County Public Schools for the upcoming fiscal year.
It's a lot of money.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair. I appreciate us breaking out and seeing the categories. I did some research, and I found out 2 or 3 years ago, the city of Lynchburg did the same thing. They had a lump sum. They changed it to 2 categories, just like we did. So it's a more transparent for their locality, and the constituents appreciated that.
It's also the way we do our budget.
Exactly, yeah.
Just like to say that this is only the first cut because the state hasn't adopted its budget, which includes monies for schools, which could be more, hopefully, could be the same, but hopefully not less than what has been built into this budget, which I understand is the House of Delegates version. If the Senate sustains in the budget, there could be more money. And so we look forward to this coming back to the board again sometime in the future if we ever get a state budget. Thank you.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Item G, second reading of ordinances and public hearings. 1, ordinance authorizing the relocation of the Hollins District Precinct 206 polling place pursuant to Virginia Code Section 24.2-306, 24.2-307, 24.2-310, and 24.2-129. Anna Clater, Registrar. Second reading and public hearing. Hello, Ms. Clater.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we just heard, we are getting ready to have an exciting renovation at the Hollins Public Library. The only issue that presents for elections is that we need a new polling place for our precinct 206. We are proposing to temporarily relocate to North Roanoke Baptist Church at 6624 Peters Creek Road. It's about 1,000 feet from the Hollins Library, and it's a very prominent building. So with signage and notices to voters, it should be very easy for them to find. And our hope is that as soon as construction is complete, we can return to the Hollins Library as our permanent polling place for precinct 206.
Are there any questions for Ms. Clater?
So just a comment, it sounds like we're going to be there for at least 3 election cycles
Sounds like it.
that we know of.
Hopefully not more, because the officers are really excited about this new library.
Yes, but I think it's a good location. Appreciate the church working with you. And
Absolutely.
and the
They've been
county.
great.
And so not too far away neither, so it's not inconvenience.
No, when we put a sign at Hollins, just an arrow right down the street, it should be pretty easy to
I
find.
think so, and they got
Yeah.
plenty of parking there too.
Lots.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will open and close the public hearing.
Awesome.
And
I'll
is,
move.
is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes,
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Ms.
all.
Clater.
thank you, Anna.
Item 2, ordinance amending Articles 2, 3, and 4 of the Roanoke County zoning ordinance. Philip Thompson, Director of Planning, second reading and public hearing. Hello, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board. Just quickly highlight these amendments. We went over first reading. As you mentioned, there are amendments to 3 of the 5 articles of the zoning ordinance. You know, it is part of the county's planning commission work plan to look at amendments, work with staff. And again, we have this on a continuing basis because our ordinance dates back to 1992. It's 34 years old. We need to keep amending it to keep current. Typically, they are to correct deficiencies, clarify issues or standards. We amend or add definitions. We add uses to certain districts. We develop and amend standards in our use and design standards, or we create or amend our development standards in the ordinance. So for use types, we are amending the definition for a major utility service, and we're also adding 2 new definitions. One is for community scale solar energy systems, and then one for utility scale solar energy systems. And the difference for the energy system is one's 5 megawatts or less, and one's greater than 5 megawatts. We're then adding, I'm going the wrong direction. We're then adding the use, community scale and utility scale solar energy systems to 5 districts, again, only through a special use permit would it be allowed. So AG3, which is our agricultural rural preserve district, AG1, which is the agricultural rural low density district, AR, which is the agricultural residential district, and then 2 of our industrial districts, low intensity industrial district I1 and I2 high intensity industrial district. Article 4, we are amending standards for multifamily dwelling, the cluster subdivision option for single family dwelling attached to detached and commercial kennel. And then we develop a lot of standards for those new uses, community scale and utility scale energy systems. For multifamily dwelling, what we're doing is clarifying a concept about development, especially in our C1 and C2 districts, that it's really a project site, not a site, because a project site could be made up of multiple parcels. We just wanted to clarify that. And then in our town center or our activity center plans, we're just changing the percentage from 75% to 80%. And some of that's a reflection of our housing study as well, to allow more housing in those areas. For the cluster subdivision option, as you cluster, the more open space that you have, the lots get smaller. And so therefore, the buildings will take up a greater percentage. And so through that, we are exempting the maximum building coverage as part of that option. We still have the maximum lot coverage, which will remain the same, but the building coverage sometimes comes into question when we allow cluster. So we're going to amend that. For solar energy systems, we add an intent section, and then general standards regarding minimum lot size, setback, buffers, height, security, soil and vegetation management, visual impact, third-party consultants, and decommissioning, and then also add requirements for the application that they submit. Last is our amendments to commercial kennel. Again, in AG3 and C2, we're allowing the zoning administrator to make site determination if the buffer, that 100-foot setback from any outdoor runs, can be reduced based on topography or site conditions. And so that allows that. And then for AG1, AR, and AV, which there are a special use permit required, it allows the planning commission to recommend and you all to approve a standard less than that 100-foot setback from the property line. With that, the planning commission held a public hearing May 5th. There were no citizens to speak. Planning commission had a general discussion and did some tweaking to the amendments. They recommend approval of the proposed zoning ordinance amendments. You all approved the first reading back at your last meeting on May 12th, and there's been no changes made since the first reading. So with that, if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions for Mr. Thompson?
Philip, I'm supporting all the amendments, but in terms of a timing question, we have on our consent agenda an approval for first reading for, I think, a commercial kennel.
You do.
That would then come to the board for public hearing, I guess, at the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
it
assuming
it would be in place for that.
that these new standards would apply to that.
It would.
Okay.
And that's, again, and a lot of times what happens for a lot of our amendments is when you apply it to a real-world situation, it brings to light some of the deficiencies that exist. And that's one of them.
I was thinking because the applicant had filed prior to.
Right. We've been in contact with them saying that this will hopefully go through, and if it does go through, it does affect that application.
Okay. Thank you.
I got a question. This is kind of unrelated, but I've been asked by a media source to give them a call about our housing market analysis. Has our planning commission met on that since the last?
No, so there's two things. Our intent is that we, obviously, we've had on the books to do a new zoning ordinance. We think those recommendations make sense to roll into that, unless you all want to direct us to start working on that. I think housing is a bigger issue. That while they have certain recommendations, obviously, it's some debate of what to implement as part of that. Part of the thing I would say is I don't know if 4 districts, residential districts, is what we will end up with in the future. I think there's a lot of options that are out there that also need to be incorporated into any type of new ordinance. However, having said that, if you all want us to do a short-term thing and look at those recommendations and direct the planning commission to implement them, that's fine. I just think it's a bigger issue and should be probably looked at in the comprehensive rewrite of our ordinance, which we plan on starting right after the housing study is completed, which is soon.
So I assume we're going to have a work session maybe from the administration on this stuff, Richard?
Certainly do that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not quite sure what to tell this media outlet because it's still in the planning stage.
Right.
Right?
Sure. What I would say is that the housing study, the consultant for the housing study has made recommendations.
Right.
It's a question of, where does the board and planning commission feel about those recommendations and moving forward?
Right.
The question is then what's the best way to move forward? Work sooner than later and amend our ordinances or incorporate them as part of a new zoning ordinance for the county.
Okay.
Any questions?
I got a comment too. And I've talked to County Administrator Kaywood about this, and I'm going to share it with you.
Sure.
I've got citizens who are speaking out against R3 zoning in parts of the county, and I think we need to move that needle up on the priority chart to start looking at countywide. One of the problems is things happen in R3 and they don't know about it. They get inflamed. They inform me of their inflammation. They inform the rest of staff, and we have that problem occurring today. We need to improve on what we designate 40 years ago as R3 or any other designation, and we need to move forward on plans to consider rezoning of parts of the county instead of waiting for things to happen where they're not notified, nor do they have any input. And so it's not being proactive, it's being reactive. And I think we need to take a look at that. So now I've shared that with Mr. Kaywood and some on his staff, and I'm sharing with you, Philip. And
Sure.
I would hope,
Again.
I would hope that in the time I have left on this board that we're able to do that. Thank you.
Sure. And all I would say is that the board wants us to look at that and wants to direct the planning commission to look at existing by right R3 zoning, to look at what properties the board may want to change, or the planning commission. We'll surely look at that.
I'll leave that up to Mr. Kaywood, Mr. Blott, and you and others to set out that timetable. Thank you.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that has signed up to speak?
No, ma'am.
Or anyone that would like to speak that hasn't signed up? We will close the public hearing, and is there a motion?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion. I move that we approve the ordinance amendments as proposed by the Roanoke County Planning Commission and Roanoke County staff.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item H, public hearing and adoption of resolution. 1, resolution adopting an amendment to the Roanoke County 200 plan to incorporate the Plantation Road and surrounding area pedestrian road safety assessment. Nathan Grimm, Transportation Planner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I wanted to update you on all the work we've been doing on Plantation Road and ask that you consider adopting the pedestrian road safety assessment that we took part in constructing into the Roanoke County 200 plan. A bit of background on where this came from. In 2025, myself and other staff participated in the Virginia Walkability Action Institute, which is a program through the Virginia Department of Health. It was a 9-month program from January to September of 2025. Did in-person sessions in Richmond, lots of online courses, They came out and visited the area, the consultants with BOEI did. And we had the opportunity to apply for special project funding, which I'll speak a bit more about later. But the main goal for the program was for each team to create an action plan to improve walkability in their community. The Roanoke team consisted of staff from the planning office and development services, as well as VDOT, the Regional Commission, and Valley Metro. The other teams were from Richmond, Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Danville, and Alexandria. So the study area that we selected was here centered around the Walmart Roanoke Market and Food Line on Plantation Road. The southern boundary was the Roanoke City line going down Plantation, and the boundary to the north was Vista Avenue. To the west, going down Hirschberger Road to Oakland Boulevard, and then to the east down Hollins Road across the bridge at Tinker Creek. Some other landmarks in the study area were North County Fire and Rescue, Edinburgh Square there on Hirschberger Road, which is about 130 unit, 62 and older low-income apartment complex, and the 7-Eleven right next to it, which generates a lot of pedestrian trips. And there are 2 sets of bus stops here, which are some of the few ones that are in the county. They're at the Walmart and Food Line and at Edinburgh Square. So some justification for where this is coming from and why we selected this area. It's been identified in multiple Roanoke County and VDOT studies. It was one of our high crash corridors in our Safe Streets and Roads for All plan. And you can see all the crashes there between Food Line and Walmart. The red ones are the serious injury crashes, which we especially are looking to reduce with the Safe Streets and Roads for All plan. It was also in VDOT's Bike and Pedestrian Safety Action Plan as a top 1% need statewide. So just all the risk factors here contributed to really being identified as something that needs improvement statewide, and it has significant VTrans needs, which is VDOT's statewide transportation plan. And if you've been out there, you'll see that the businesses, transit stops, and housing in the area generate significant pedestrian activity. In May 2025, we conducted a survey where the purpose was to engage the community to identify the issues they face in the corridor. We sent out 211 paper surveys and flyers to property owners and occupants. There were additional surveys that we handed out by hand at Edinburgh Square, Walmart, Food Line, 7-Eleven. We did a focus group out there at Edinburgh Square and spoke directly to the residents to talk about the issues they see out there. We had 51 responses to the survey. So the results, we asked what their relationship to the study area is. We had a good mix of people saying that they shop, live, and travel in the study area with some representation from workers there. We asked, how do you travel in the study area? We had the most respondents said that they drive, but a large amount of people say that they walk, ride a bus, and use a wheelchair and mobility device in the area, which is pretty rare. Every study I've done with the county, it's usually 99% driver, and then you get just a couple walkers, but we had really high representation from other modes here. A couple comments there were just people saying they would love to be able to walk to the stores, that they would like to be able to walk, but they end up having to pay the bus fare both ways to Food Line and Walmart, even though it should be in walking distance. We just asked an open-ended question about what safety issues and difficulties you have when traveling in the study area. Lots of people said they need sidewalks, concerns about high vehicle speeds, need crosswalks, inadequate bus stops. One thing that came up quite a few times was that the elderly people out there have issues with the uneven pavement. It makes it difficult for their balance. And then some comments about just how people are having to walk in the roads and use their wheelchairs in the road. So a lot of good feedback there. So after the survey completed, we conducted a road safety assessment on May 29th. We had people from the county there, along with VDOT, Virginia Department of Health. We had Roanoke County Police, Roanoke County Greenway Commission, Valley Metro, and some citizen bike and bus advocacy groups. We held a classroom portion at North County Fire and Rescue with the consultant that VWAI hired for this, and then we went out in the field and conducted observations throughout the study area. So it was a full day process, and it was a good experience. So that produced the RSA report, which is what I'm asking y'all to consider today for adoption into the 200 plan. It's in your packet. It has background on the study area, detailed assessment findings, and then the main meat of it is giving near-term, intermediate, and long-term recommendations for each segment. Some examples of the recommendations in the report, the near-term ones that are a little bit easier to implement are improvements to the transit stops, speed studies to see if there's opportunity for lowering the speed limit on any of the portions, vegetation trimming for sight distance improvements, installing crosswalks and signage and reconfiguring the lanes. Intermediate, where it would take a little more planning, would be things like installing crosswalks with median islands or installing sidewalks. Long-term would be installing sidewalks in the more difficult areas. There are some topography challenges in the area that would make it a little more expensive and difficult to install sidewalks in some places, just with the goal of creating a connected pedestrian network there. There's also a suggestion in there to install a roundabout at Plantation and Hollins, which would be quite nice, but as we've seen in the past, those can get very expensive. So we've already begun implementing some of the things in the plan. We're able to acquire some solar lights at the transit stops through the special funding from the Virginia Walkability Action Institute at no cost to the county. So we installed those at the 3 highest need stops in April. And you can see the one here on the left is at, The one here on the left is the stop at Walmart, and you can see how difficult an area that is. There's really just no place for anybody to stand. But the solar light there will hopefully give people a little bit more visibility. What you do is just press the button there, and then it flashes, as you can see here in this video. And it lights up way brighter after you press the button. And then that's the one in front of Edinburgh Square there in the center, and the one on the right is the stop at Food Line. More implementation that we've already done. We did some vegetation clearing at Buckley Drive. That's the road that's off of John Richardson that goes behind Walmart. There's a lot of vegetation there that blocks sight lines, and a lot of people do walk back there to access the Walmart, and they noted in the survey that it's quite isolated, so hopefully trimming back that vegetation will have helped some of that issues. We also added 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs onto John Richardson Road because there weren't any, thanks to VDOT, who has helped us out with these things. So the big thing we're working on right now is a smart scale application for submission here later in August. This is one of the 2 concepts we have. The main things to note here is that this is a restricted crossing U-turn configuration, where if you're coming from Food Line or Walmart, you can no longer go straight across or turn left, but you can turn left into the businesses from Plantation Road. This has a mid-block crosswalk in between Food Line and Walmart, and it has a crosswalk at Hollins Road and Plantation Road, and sidewalks connecting the 2. It also includes bus stop improvements like shelter and a bus pad. This is the other concept we're looking at. Both of these are going to be refined because VDOT and other organizations have had some comments on the specifics of it, but this is the general concept. This is a median island that would create a right-in, right-out only for exiting the Food Line and Plantation, and you would no longer be able to turn left into them from Plantation. You would have to utilize the traffic signal on Hollins Road and John Richardson Road in order to turn left out of there. May 7th, we held a community meeting regarding the smart scale proposed concepts. It was from 5 to 7 at the North County Fire and Rescue Station. And there's a survey that's available online through May 29th, which is Thursday. Some quick preliminary results from that survey. There's been very strong support for each of the improvements, especially the crosswalk, the transit stops, and the sidewalk. A little bit more mixed on the restricted crossing U-turn and median island, but still general support for those. So possible future implementation. So far, VDOT has studied the speed limit on Plantation and Hirschberger. It's likely going to be lowered from 40 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour. And after they make that determination, the Salem residency is going to evaluate whether they can install a crosswalk between the 2 transit stops there on Hirschberger. And Buckley Drive, which is again that road that is by the Skate Center behind Walmart, is going to be paved by VDOT this summer. So this is kind of like what the full network would look like, and this is what I think adoption into the 200 plan would support, to actually create a full pedestrian network here, and do some of the little bit more difficult logistical things out here. So you can see up there at the top of the screen, the proposed sidewalk from Edinburgh Square to 7-Eleven. If you saw the WDBJ7 news story the other week when we did the community meeting, you saw the woman riding in her wheelchair on the road right there. So it's definitely a spot of serious need for sidewalk. And then one of the things we found out through the survey is that a lot of people in the area use Buckley Drive to get from Edinburgh Square to Walmart. So one of the suggestions was to formalize that as a pedestrian route. There's really no vehicles there that drive. The only people that use it is Roanoke Gas to access that parcel that's up at the corner of Hirschberger and Plantation. But the thing that would be needed to tie that all together is right-of-way from the end of Buckley Drive connecting to Hirschberger, because the right-of-way ends there where that yellow line veers off to the left in front of the skate center. So that'd be an important thing if we wanted to implement the suggestions in the report. Another big thing in there is a proposed bridge across Carvin Creek at the end of John Richardson Road that would connect to the sidewalk eventually at Friendship Living. So that would do a lot to create more connectivity throughout the area. And then you can see on the right circled is the Smart Scale Round 7 application to kind of see how that ties into the greater network. Next steps, August 3rd is the Smart Scale Round 7 application deadline. January, we'll find out whether we got the funding, so fingers crossed. And we meet with VDOT every month on this and other topics, so we're going to continue doing that to implement recommendations. And then we're always updating the website at roanokecountyva.gov/p-h-h. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to ask.
Questions?
Are there any questions?
Questions?
Oh, sorry.
Nathan, what really drove this analysis, this focus, and this attention were the amount of accidents that have occurred in that corridor? Were they about 27 over a period of time? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There were a lot of accidents, especially at the entrances to Food Line and Walmart. And we went out there to do the community engagement. That was definitely the concern of like the workers at Food Line. We're just saying how many crashes they see there all the time.
Absolutely. Good work on this. I do hope that we are more fortunate this year in Smart Scale and don't go 0 for 7 or whatever we did in round 6. This seems to have a high scoring capability with respect to safety, and I hope that gives us some points that we make the cutoff.
Yes, sir.
If not, it's going to be disheartening. What's also is discouraging is that when you come up with the implementation and it's 0 to 5 years for some things, it takes a long time to get sidewalks and things done using other people's money in the federal and state budgets. I mean, if you don't believe that, look up on Williamson Road as well as Plantation, and they've been working on sidewalks ever since I've been on the board some 8 or 9 years ago. And those were approved 5 and 6 years previous to my coming on the board. So appreciate your diligence and good luck with that, and we hope to hear some good news in January. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
2 questions, and maybe one to you, Nathan, or maybe also to our administrator. With respect to Buckley, trying to come up with some solutions for that. Richard, if that were abandoned, I mean, I don't know whether it's a Bird Act road or what, but if it were abandoned and we were able to retain, I guess, an easement for Roanoke Gas and then an easement for a sidewalk, could that or would that make it safer for people walking along it? I guess I'm worried that if you still have a road, you have somebody walking on it, and then you have someone driving their vehicle, and we're really not solving the problem that kind of triggered this assessment. But am I going down a wrong path, or?
Yeah, let me look at this in more detail with staff. I think some of it would have to do with, as you suggest, how it was created, but then you can certainly, just continue maintenance. It could be not a road anymore and still have public access and pedestrians. So I'd like to sit down and just look at that in more detail with staff and look at its history. But generally speaking, you've got a lot of options with a situation like that.
Okay. My second question deals with what other projects do we have on the list for Smart Scale 7? That is, how would this rank compared to any of the other projects that we're championing?
In terms of safety, this is probably number one in my mind.
Okay.
Although there are other good ones as well, and I don't fully expect us to get all of them. In fact, if we get 2 or 3, I'll declare that as a huge success, because we have many places around the state competing against us. Although this one is going to compete on district grant pots, which means we're competing with people in the Salem district and not statewide.
Yeah.
So that should enhance safety scoring on that, and hopefully we get some money. If this was competing with state projects, maybe not so much. Okay. It's so hard to determine that, although you've done some work, Nathan, in estimating, smaller amounts of projects get more credits and more points. What's your comments on?
Right, well, the lower the cost, the better, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And as far as the county's priorities versus other things, really, it just is going to go into the black box, and then whatever happens as far as whether they get funded. So we chose this one among the other projects because they were county priorities, but after we send them off to Smart Scale, it kind of, we lose control.
I think we've got 8, I want to thank, or 7. We got 4 under the district grant pot of money we're competing with, and 4 are on the state pot. So we'll see how it plays out. Now, Mr. Kaywood's good friend and former colleague at VDOT is the Secretary of Transportation, and I fully expect that will favor us, don't you? No, I don't think so, because it takes politics out of
We'll get
it.
whatever we want, I'm sure.
So in other words, if we don't get anything this year, don't come to me. Let's go talk to Richard, let him have a conversation with the new secretary.
I guess for my colleagues on the board, I think it's around page 200 of our agenda, we have the list that staff has put together for the short-term and long-term and intermediate opportunities. Let's be honest, we are building an expectation with our citizens that we, the county, are going to do things. Oh, yeah, and you look at the final column, VDOT is listed there many times, but so is Roanoke County. And we start looking at putting in crosswalks or sidewalks, et cetera. And then for the long term, as Mr. Grimm had talked about, I think roundabouts have really helped traffic and traffic safety in our community. It's taken our citizens a while to learn how to use them, but when they learn, it is safe. But I guess in my experience, I'm shocked at how expensive they are. And I can remember looking at and having a shock when I saw how expensive the roundabout was for at Buck Mountain Road in Cave Spring. And again, as you talked about how long it takes, Charlotte Moore was on the Board of Supervisors sitting in this seat, and she started that process back when she was on the board. And that was a decade and a half or almost 2 decades ago. So yes, it takes a long time, and yes, they're very, very expensive. But I think from a safety perspective, this is important.
Well, I'll just add to that. One of the reasons it takes so long is because not only are there so many projects, but it seems like each year you have fewer dollars in the pot. Well, you're not going to make a lot of headway. And I'll just say this in case our governor's listening, which I'm sure she probably isn't, because she's probably got other things on her mind besides the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors. But if we don't have a priority on transportation, it's going to come a day of reckoning, because all over the state, there's not enough dollars for the many needs that we have. And it's just a fact. And I don't know how we fix that, but it needs to be looked at and preyed upon, because the problem's everywhere. I was up in Northern Virginia last week, and when I came up on 66, I held my breath until I could get off at 234, and I didn't have to go any further. There's a big sign up there, tolled $10.65, just to drive over 66, which has always been under construction since the day it was built. And it's things like that that take up so much of the transportation dollars. So I look for Mr. Kaywood to help us out on that too one day.
Did you put that car in reverse?
Thank you.
I think I'm going to be very busy the
No,
next
I
few days.
didn't, but I went out of town. I drove through the country and came down 29 and 460 after having fun on 81 and 66. I came home the more quiet route.
I gotcha. Mr. Radford?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Nathan, really good report. Aside from the funds, which we need, this is a good document that we're going to incorporate into the 200 plan. The course that I'm taking right now for VACO Supervisor certification, we're doing a planning module right now, and I was able to highlight that we're not stagnant with our comprehensive plan. We're putting something in those neighborhood plans constantly. So the question is, do we have I know we have more crash areas. Are we doing these assessments in different areas? This was targeted for Hollins area. Are we doing any more?
Mm-hmm. So in order to continue implementing our Safe Streets and Roads for All Safety Action Plan, I believe we just last week submitted to FHWA to try to get money to do a road safety audit, sort of like this on Bradshaw Road,
Okay.
which is one of our high crash areas, and also I believe on Starkey Road. That was another one of our high crash corridors.
Okay,
So yes, more to come.
More to come. Okay, great. Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, I only have two comments. First of all, my aunt lives off of Plantation Road. And since I was appointed to this board, the only thing she ever complains about is the crashes right down there when she goes to Food Lion. So she will be thrilled to know, she's not in town right now, she's at UVA, but she'll be thrilled to know this is coming. And then speaking of roundabouts, I recently went on a cruise and was on an island. And interestingly enough, every time we went down the road, we never found a stoplight. But we went through probably 20 roundabouts the entire, they don't have stoplights, all they have are roundabouts. And that's in these these islands that don't have a lot of technology, let me put it that way. But they have lots of roundabouts. So anyway, all right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is anyone signed up to speak?
No, ma'am.
All right, is there anyone that would like to speak that has not signed up? I will close the public hearing, and is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Item I, appointments. Do any board members have an appointment that has not been given to the clerk and included in the board report for agenda item I? No? Is there a motion to approve the list of appointments set forth in the board report?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. J, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by one resolution in the form or forms listed below. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion? Is there a motion to adopt all matters on the consent agenda?
Move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Whoops.
I do have a question. Richard, with respect to item 9 under the consent agenda, where we are transferring the title to Cave Spring Rescue so that they can complete the repairs, am I correct in assuming that when the repairs are done, title will be transferred back to the county so that we can insure it? Because I thought one of the prime reasons all of the vehicles for the volunteer rescue and fire facilities, operations, companies, all of those were titled to the county so that we could insure all of them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll see if Doug knows any more about that. He could probably
Chief,
speak to
is
that item
Is
better
that
than
your
I.
recollection? Because I thought they were all titled to the county for insurance purposes. I understand why we're doing it now, but I'm hoping or assuming that once all the repairs are complete, then the title will come back to county so that we can insure and protect all of them.
Yeah, so this ambulance was purchased by the Cave Spring Volunteers in 2019. It became under the ownership or title to the Board of Supervisors for insurance VACOR purposes. Since this accident, it's been deemed totaled. They are requesting to have the ambulance and the insurance funds come back to them in hopes of getting it fully repaired and back in service. So at that time, then, yes, the consideration would be to retitle it to the board for insurance purposes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
That's all right. And now I've lost my train of thought. Have we called the roll?
Yes.
We did,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
on
thank
K.
you.
Beginning K.
Sorry. Item K, citizens' comments and communications. This time has been set aside for Roanoke County citizens to address the board on matters of interest or concern. Roanoke County citizens are defined as current residents of Roanoke County. While the board desires to hear from all who desire to speak, this agenda item is limited to a duration of 30 minutes. Each individual speaker shall be afforded 3 minutes to speak. Are there any citizens wanting to address the board that have not submitted a form? We appreciate all who have come to address the board today. When your name is called, please come forward and state your name and address prior to sharing your comments. Each person is permitted to speak up to 3 minutes. At the front of the podium is a light system that tells you how much time you have remaining. When the light changes from green to yellow, please share any concluding remarks. When the light changes from yellow to red, your time has ended. While the board desires to hear from all who desire to speak, we ask that speakers refrain from repeating comments already made by others. First, I have James Dinkle. He left? Okay. Well, I guess we will move on then, and we will close that hearing. Item L, reports. Is there a motion to receive and file the reports that have been included with the agenda under item L?
Move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item M, closed meeting. I move to go into closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia for discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. The board will discuss potential business location or expansion in the 5 magisterial districts. Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes, the board will now recess to the 4th floor for the closed session.